Israel attacked Iran overnight in retaliation for a ballistic missile assault earlier this month, with the Middle East on the precipice of a regional war.
There are long queues at the polling stations in Georgia as the country votes in the pivotal parliamentary elections.
Israel launched airstrikes on what it described as military targets in Iran in retaliation for a ballistic missile assault earlier this month. There was no immediate information available on damage to the country, but Iranian state media reported the sound of explosions around Iran's capital, Tehran, without immediately elaborating. Iranian state television later identified some of the blasts as coming from air defense systems, without offering more details. Two Israeli officials said the strikes on Iran were not targeting nuclear or oil facilities. The attack, threatened for weeks by Israel, comes as the Middle East sits on the precipice of a regional war, more than a year after an initial attack by Hamas killed around 1,200 Israelis. Since then, Israel has launched a devastating ground offensive in the Gaza Strip and an invasion of the neighboring Lebanon, targeting militants long-armed and aided by Tehran.
Following Israel's retaliatory strikes on Iran on Saturday, global leaders have urged restraint and are calling on Iran not to respond. Speaking during a visit to India, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said Israel specifically targeted military facilities.
Es ist versucht worden, Schäden auch was Personen betrifft im Iran gering zu halten. Und das dient natürlich dazu, dass jetzt auch die Möglichkeit da ist, eine weitere Eskalation zu vermeiden.
France's foreign ministry urged all sides to prevent further escalation in a post on X, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer did the same at a press conference in Samoa.
I am clear that Israel has the right to defend itself against Iranian aggression. I'm equally clear that we need to avoid further regional escalation and urge all sides to show restraint. Iran should not respond.
Israel struck missile manufacturing facilities, surface-to-air missile arrays, and Iranian aerial capabilities that were intended to restrict Israel's aerial freedom of operation in Iran, according to IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari.
Local media in Georgia report long queues at the polling stations and ballot boxes as the country is voting in what could be their most pivotal parliamentary elections to date. As the ruling Georgian Dream government faces off with the coalition of pro-European Union parties, the election will decide if Georgia is heading down a path towards Europe or increased Russian influence. With just a few hours before polls close, Georgia's voter turnout stood at almost 42%, according to a poll by the Central Election Commission. That is about 5% higher than the previous 2020 elections, but lower than the landmark election in 2012 that brought the Georgian Dream to power. For the first time, polling stations were equipped with an electronic scanner at the ballot box, resulting in some technical problems with the equipment. Preliminary results are expected to be available tonight, shortly after polls close, and the CEC plans to announce the final results on Sunday morning.
Bulgarians are voting for a new government on Sunday, but not everyone is eager to do so. The less than 20 residents in the rural town of Lizitsite have no way of reaching the polling stations except by boat or by walking 3 kilometers along a railway track to the neighboring town.
До тук искам колко години. Знаете ли, до сега съм на 70 години. Откакто дойде демокрацията, вижте, един период не е забит тук.
Lizitsite's elderly population doesn't see a point in voting this time.
Те са възрастни над 80 години. Аз съм гордо.
Гласуват ли? Възрастни са, ама пак
ходят. Ама някой, сега, преди 2-3 години ходиха, сега не могат да ходят.
Voter turnout in Bulgaria reached a record low in June at just 34%. Many Bulgarians are doubtful any change will come from Sunday's election.